And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry.
Bill Maher is on a full-blown mission to dismantle woke arguments like it's his day job, and his latest target? None other than Whoopi Goldberg. Let's be real, she's been stacking up some seriously cringeworthy moments since 2022, and Maher hasn't just criticized her. He's been systematically tearing those arguments apart piece by piece. His latest takedown was so sharp, it felt like Whoopi was dodging punches like a cartoon character avoiding falling anvils. So what did she say this time to spark Maher's unfiltered response? And how did his comeback throw the whole woke crowd into chaos? Stick around, because this isn't just drama. It's a full-on roller coaster with no seat.
We have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
Whoopi Goldberg stirred the pot, and now she's dealing with the fallout, and it's not pretty. Remember when Maher went after Sunny Hostin for twisting his words? Yeah, that didn't sit well with the View crew. This time, they weren't backing down. Enter Whoopi, seemingly ready to settle the score. It's like Sunny couldn't take the heat, so she called in backup, and Whoopi showed up swinging, ready for a clash no one even signed up for.
Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Classic Whoopi, flipping through the woke playbook like it's sacred text. When her argument starts sinking like the Titanic, she pulls out a straw man and goes all in. Maher was making a straightforward point about economic opportunity and accountability, but then Whoopi jumps in with something completely off track. The logic, practically non-existent. It's like throwing darts blindfolded and hoping something sticks. Spoiler, it doesn't. And Maher, he wasn't about to let that slide.
Let's tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no, it's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
Maher pointed out what many were already thinking. There's a lack of coherence in these arguments, and it's becoming a pattern. At this point, The View feels like a political train wreck. Hard to watch, but somehow you can't look away. The takes are divisive, often questionable, and lately, they've reached a whole new level. Even guest appearances have turned awkward. You can practically see people wondering if they've stepped into a different reality.
All of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time, and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now.
Then comes the controversy. President Joe Biden, who has repeatedly said no one is above the law, pardons his son Hunter Biden after a conviction tied to serious charges. Naturally, the backlash was immediate. Critics questioned how that message holds up when it hits so close to home. The situation sparked a broader debate about accountability, and that's where Charlemagne stepped in, pressing the issue head on.
I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed his...
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
And then came Whoopi's response, another head-scratcher. She insisted Biden wasn't contradicting himself. Really? Because there's plenty of public record suggesting otherwise. The statement, no one is above the law, wasn't exactly whispered in private. It was said loud and clear. So naturally, people were left wondering how that lines up with recent actions.
So I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. Listen, they don't have to.
Watching Whoopi try to spin this was like hearing someone argue the sky isn't blue while standing under it. The mental gymnastics were intense. Charlemagne's reaction said it all, visible disbelief. And when Whoopi suggested maybe Biden just changed his stance out of frustration, it only added to the confusion. The room practically froze.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bull.
Critics argue there's a pattern. Outrage seems selective. When it's someone outside the circle, the reaction is loud and immediate. But when it's closer to home, suddenly things get quieter. That tension played out live. And when Maher caught wind of it, he didn't hold back. His response cut straight through the noise.
Is it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
Maher's argument was blunt. Double standards are becoming harder to ignore. He pointed to the broader issue, whether systems apply rules equally or bend under pressure. For him, this wasn't just about one case. It was about consistency and trust. And that's where the conversation really intensified.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
He also criticized how parts of the media handled the story, arguing that coverage was uneven and at times dismissive. Some outlets initially downplayed the situation, which only fueled more skepticism. Whoopi, like others, pushed back on the narrative, but Maher challenged those defenses, questioning whether the full picture was being addressed.
Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office, but they do. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey.
Maher didn't just stop at policy, he went after the tone of debate itself. He argued that too often, discussions turn into shutting down opposing views instead of engaging with them. His criticism wasn't just about disagreement, it was about how those disagreements are handled in public discourse.
There's a coalition of Trump voters, people who really like him, they certainly are those, and then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti-common sense.
He also touched on elections, arguing that political losses shouldn't always be explained away by external factors. Sometimes, he said, it comes down to messaging and voter response. Whether people agree or not, that perspective sparked more conversation about accountability in politics.
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Maher pointed out that not every voter fits into a neat label. Many people, he argued, make decisions based on a mix of concerns, even if they don't fully support a candidate. That nuance often gets lost in heated political debates.